I was as bewildered as you guys, but it was a great game regardless. 7-4 was weird. Like the first couple of rounds felt like it should have been like a 2-2 or something like that. Ended up like a 4-0 start for 5-0 in fact for Bleed. Yeah, weird game. Julita won a ridiculous amount of clutches and almost clutched it to keep the game going, but alas, Bleed locked it in. Mentalist really in his interview I think was quite telling how disappointed he was in the team. It shows you like Bleed are insane, but their expectations are so much higher, and if that is like the B grade or C grade roster of Bleed, like I would shudder to imagine what they can achieve when they're on their A game.
Yeah, it's always good to hear players be humble about their performances, but sometimes even then you've got to say, well, you know, it was close to being a 7-0, mate, so it can't have been that bad. We move on to a team at the moment that seems to be going through, look, just a stage. That's all I'm going to say. Knock, knock. They come into this game with only one win on the board. -11 round differential. Mandy, it's obviously a very difficult conversation when it comes to the bottom three teams at the moment, because they are, I mean, they're all neck and neck essentially, but it really, it just doesn't look great for them there.
No, it certainly doesn't. The only team that I believe that Knock Knock has actually defeated is the other South Asian team of Hasid Warriors, right? So ultimately, these guys are trying to battle their way out of elimination. Now, they've gotten their way out of 8th place at this stage, but can they get out of 7th? That's going to be the question for these guys. And honestly, I think it's going to be pretty tricky for these guys to do. Not only do they have to take down the Direwolves here, but then they've got Fury as their next matchup as well. And then Jelita following from that. So they've got pretty tricky opponents from here on out, especially losing out to Daystar early on definitely doesn't help their cause either. So for me, amongst their 3 opponents that they now have to face, Direwolves are definitely the weakest ones, which is this current matchup going in. I think for Knock Knock, if they want to escape that 7th place position, this is a must win for them.
Honestly, I couldn't have put it any better myself. This is the only game, this is really the only 3 points out of their next 9 points that could potentially even walk into the realm of conversation. Direwolves have had a rocky stage as well. You know, they've beaten Daystar and Hasid Warriors, and outside of that, Dev, they just haven't been able to get the points on the board that I'm sure they would have hoped for.
Yeah, and they're currently in 5th place, so they are, in theory, like in danger of elimination. However, with how Knock Knock, Daystar, and Hasid Warriors have been playing, I think Direwolves are probably safe. However, if this game ends up a loss for Direwolves, maybe we'll be having quite a different conversation. And yeah, these guys really need to try and get themselves together, fix up their act, because they should be realistically like contesting for the top. Once upon a time, Direwolves were the best team in this region, right? Like,
yeah,
you have to look pretty far back to those good old days, about a year and a half ago, at least. But yeah, Souffle and Pika are still on this roster. They've got a new, very formidable pickup in Joe Gore. As you can see, his KD is insane. Very strong up-and-coming player. But it hasn't been enough. Like, you have to be a well-rounded roster. And yeah, we just haven't seen that yet.
I want to hedge my bet and say that's probably the most outrageous stats worldwide at the moment.
Oh, just you wait until the next graphic, mate.
Well, let's go to it, shall we? Let's go ahead and BM them, Dev.
So, right here, what we're looking at is the best player in the league in Joe Gore and the worst player in the league.
Oh, Dev.
So, the number 1 highest rated player in the league right now is Joe Gore. He's a rookie. It's his first time debuting into the tier 1 scene. And like you can see from the stats, he's actually been insane. Like, particularly, he gets a lot of them kills. Like, his cost isn't... 80% cost is good, but that's not like a crazy number. Not like a 2.0 KD. His entry is also pretty insane. Like, 27% of rounds, he's getting the opening pick. That's nuts. He's a real mean Dokkaebi player, as we've seen, and he backs up on defense. Unfortunately, Beat, I know this is a very, like, shallow surface level analysis, right? Like, they're not necessarily the same role or anything, but Beat has really been struggling. This guy's been on the scene for quite some time here in South Asia. Like, he's a bit of a veteran player, and yeah, he does take some more supportive roles, but he's been really struggling yet to find an opening pick. KD under 0.5. It's been real rough, and I think the most scary stat for a player like Beat is the fact that his cost is below 50%. Even if you have a low KD, doesn't really matter if you get your cost up high, because it probably means you're planting the bomb a lot or you're surviving a lot of rounds, but or getting traded if you die. But yeah, like Knock Knock have really struggled. Now, while they are currently outside of elimination, if they lose this, there's no guarantee that they'll stay that way.
Yeah, it's look. Toward the end of this stage, the conversation for these bottom 3 teams is going to get incredibly rough, and we could potentially be saying bottom 4 should Knock Knock be able to even get a point off Direwolves tonight, and Direwolves might even enter that conversation of the bottom 4 teams rather than the top 5. I know that sounds like it's the same thing, right? Top 4, bottom 4 versus top 5, bottom 3. The fact of the matter is, Direwolves are on that. They're on that edge at the moment. Given their experience in Souffle and Pika, Mandy, it does feel like we should be maybe expecting a little bit more. Considering you look at the stats in the league, and I mean, you know, as Dev's already perfectly mentioned, Jogo's just on another level.
To be frank, I don't know how much I agree with that. I think something that Dev and I identified pretty early on about this team is that, like, yes, you've got these big names, historic big names, in fact, but what you don't have is you don't really have mature players, you don't have very good leaders, you don't have strat makers, right? And what Direwolves have been struggling to do in the last year is, like, bring in good support players and bring in good IGLs, right? We've, like, rotated in and out of Songlar, who was a support player, then they magically got on Jogor. Is probably not the medicine they need for their problems, right? And I think as a result, the team dynamic for this Direwolves roster just isn't really falling into place. And yeah, I think ultimately, like, yes, you've got all these big names like you've been mentioning, but does that make the hallmark of a good team? Probably not.
Well, to be frank with you, Mandy, I agree. We head to Chalet.
I'm gonna start calling you Frank at this point, mate.
Honestly, that's you had the style on me. Look, I mean that's why you're the analyst and I am just but a mere host. Unfortunately, this is now going to. I think this opens the game up a little bit, Dev. I mean, more than happy to hear your thoughts on this, but I do feel as though Chalet might open things up a little bit to maybe start that knock-knock conversation.
Yeah, nah, I don't reckon. Direwolves love this map. This has been the map that they've played in all but one of their games. They have already beaten Daystar and Hasib's Warriors pretty convincingly on it. And while they did lose to Fury, it's Fury. And I think that kind of where we're at the moment is that, like, there's the top 4 teams, and then there's Direwolves, and then there's the bottom 3 teams. And potentially is like, there's top 4 teams, there's Direwolves, Daystar, and then there's the 2 South Asian teams at the bottom. I think that's kind of how the league is at the moment. And yeah, for Knock Knock, like, they have played this, they lost it to Bleed. They got 3 rounds off of them, which is great. But I'm not convinced that this is going to be an achievable one for Knock Knock. Direwolves, they love Chalet. The only chance I would have here for Knock Knock is if they have VODed the ever-living crap out of Chalet and watched all 4 of the games, well, 3 of the games plus 1 that Direwolves played in the ECS. And no, they know exactly how they play, and they've come in with, like, the craziest counter strats, and Joe Gore's PC crashes every round. That's the win condition for Knock Knock.
You know what? I'm even going to throw a win condition in there. If you are a stats man, you will know that Direwolves have an insane entry statistic at the moment across their entire team. Shut down the entry, maybe shut down the round. I'm kidding. Knock Knock are going to go up against the David, or as David in this Goliath battle. Let's go across to Jake and Guz.
Yeah, well said. Thanks, from the desk. Very much just alluding to the fact that it's going to be a difficult match, clearly, for Knock Knock. I think regardless, though, for Direwolves, I think it's all about how much they win this by. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but round differential is going to matter over the coming play days, going into the playoffs, for seeding. You want to be able to have as best round differential as you possibly can for the better position, for the better seeding. So this is the kind of game that they should be winning. As Dev mentioned, they've played it in all but one of their games in terms of Chalet. I don't know how this map has made it through, but it has. And so Direwolves, for me, go into this as the extraordinarily overwhelming insanity favorites.
The insanity favorites.
The insanity,
that is a line I have not heard
favorites.
before.
Like galactic favorites.
Galactic. Universal.
Universal.
I don't even go any bigger than that. The multiversal favorites in this match.
The multiverse.
But no, look, I mean, I know we're joking a little bit, but it is at the end of the day a very, very one-sided matchup. That's the expectation heading into this. And as you mentioned, round diff actually could be relatively impactful. With Jalita just losing against Bleed, Direwolves will jump ahead of them with a regulation win. And they are, of course, trailing by a decent amount in round diff to Jalita. They're also trailing Fury as well, who had a dominant victory already today. So if there's a world in which later on, maybe an OT result here or there, for whatever reason, points are drawn, round diff could be quite impactful. So Direwolves need to go in, especially starting defense, go in with the idea that they are not going to lift the pedal at all throughout this match. Every single round, be as dominant as you can.
Yeah, and adding even onto this conversation, rather to the importance of the round differential for Direwolves, they have the lowest round differential out of the top 5. So even more importance then to really bump that number up for Direwolves. They also play Jolita and then Elevate for their last 2 play days. So I mean, it's going to get a lot harder. They get their last win here against Knock Knock, and then you move on to some pretty important games. So you pick up the round differential here, and then you get the points, and from there. And in terms of why you probably want to, and where you want to finish right now, 2nd or 3rd is very much where you kind of want to finish. Avoid bleed as long as you possibly can. And so you end up in the quarterfinals. 6 is going to be very difficult to fall down to. So if Direwolves hold this position of 5th right now, what that would mean, or even if they only go up to 4th, is they're on the same bracket as Bleed. And that's quite a daunting task going into the playoffs for the semifinals to come after the quarterfinals. Direwolves also starting on the defense first here. Now, I had a very quick look at the last time they played Hasib Warriors on this map for a bit of a reference point from one South Asia team to another. And Direwolves did actually start on the attack, had a 4-2 half, then defensively won 3-1. So even on a map like Chalet, which by the way, 60% defensive sided inside of Southeast Asia, yeah, I think Direwolves should start well here, and every emphasis that they're going to have a really good half.
Yeah, as alluded to on the desk at the conclusion there, Rob mentioning that the entry stat for Direwolves is quite favorable, and so Knock Knock will need to try everything they can in isolating that early pick. The defensive lineup here from Direwolves suggesting they're going to play very aggressive and free-flowing with the likes of the Legion and the Alibi. There'll be a bit of structure in place with the Might to help lock down positions, and Joe Gore, of course, has been a phenomenal player so far, so we'll be keeping a keen eye on him. Obviously running MP5 ACOG as well, so the spawn peaks are going to be on the table as well, and he's probably going to get one here. Oh, he's watching it, though.
No.
Ooh. Well, that's good presence of mind from Knock Knock, right? Like, those are the kind of entry battles where if you just give away something for free, you set yourself up for failure, but having the conscious mind to be ready for that. And they also have a read down below here, so this is actually quite a decent start from Knock Knock if they're able to capitalize on this.
Yeah, a lot of sitting outside of the map though, and I think very much expecting Direwolves to get overly aggressive. But to the credit of Direwolves, not getting disrespectively aggressive. Even this little peek here, I mean, that's nothing too crazy that we're seeing from Joey Gore. Jittery, though, watching and does get that kill. Opening kill goes the way of Knock Knock, and in the end, well, patience pays dividends. They get themselves an exterior kill before looking to eventually make their way in towards the site, and a good kill as well. Saw Dev Mata obviously on the desk highlighting before. Joey Gore is the top-rated player at the moment in this current stage. Fortunately for B, on the other side, for Knock Knock, the lowest rated player in the stage. Good start so far for Knock Knock. Over 90 seconds still remaining. Bit of bulky control. It has just been a lot of this posturing outside. So the map control is not a lot. Very much slim to none. But they lose one from Westmain. Push is beautiful from Felix while they get some pressure onto the player in bathroom. And that is kit that will need to be retrieved as well.
Yeah, Beat getting slammed on that angle. Really good shot there from Felix. And with Diffuser isolated, that will need to be collected by Knock Knock, who haven't actually gained a whole lot of map control. That's unfortunately the position they find themselves in now. Despite winning that earlier pick, they haven't then converted that into a lot of pressure in towards the map itself. Still players on the roof, still players on the exterior. I don't even know if Library's been taken. Rattler's just almost knocked himself down, but survives. Library control now chipped away at. Sandy able to find that pick. So they are finding kills. In fact, they'll double down. So late map control here may not be to the demise of Knock Knock, and Felix down below has been spotted.
And Piggy getting aggressive, pushing over towards Ego Velk. Has one outside on that balcony. Low health Rattler could be the way back into the round for the two-man Direwolves. Great start here for Knock Knock. Pika, though, swings successfully, gets the kill onto Jittery. Holding this half-wall position. The little creep in from Rattler, but in the end, Sandy gets the double kill, and Knock Knock get the opening round. And David will throw the first punch against Goliath, and honestly, I'm a little surprised. Direwolves get aggressive. They look to try and go for peaks early on. Jogor roaming big garage, gets caught, loses his life. And from there, Knock Knock doing a good job of just kind of finding picks throughout the round. A good start here in Chalet.
Yeah, we didn't really get to see how those, especially the double pick late in the round, was actually isolated there by Knock Knock. For divers in this match, it's important that you balance confidence and greed. And if you disrespect your opponent too much and expect every single position you play to be favorable and every single fight that you enter to be one that you're going to win, kind of like that one there, you are going to find yourself in trouble in the long run if you're not careful and if your late round doesn't make up for it. So there were some good players. I mean, the Felix pick Westmain, that got the diffuser down. Eventually, though, Pika was left on that island. Tried as best he could to try and salvage the round, but it didn't work out. So it's important that divers, they have to be confident. They should be confident in this matchup, but if you go over the line into overconfidence, you can find yourself in a bit of trouble. And I'm only saying that, yes, it's one round, but again, the round differential story could be really, really important. So every round does matter in this match.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good observation as well, where you kind of mentioned already coming into this game for Direwolves, it's all about round differential, the kind of game where they're heavy favorites, must win and win big, and to lose our opening round. Yeah, not the best of starts. Good news for Knock Knock, though, that they were able to find an opening round that they can maybe snowball off. Can you find a way now to just keep that momentum going? Find a second, then a third. Suddenly, the pressure's really on Direwolves. Every round just so vital. Ed was spotted and eventually taken out by Pika. The upside down repel from Envy, unsuccessful outside of Library. Mezzanine hold with the mirror facing in towards top Library. Games is, of course, the site.
But a better example there of a more favorable contact fight where you've got the mirror for info, you're running the ACOG, so as long as you pre-fire the right position, it is a favored fight. Better example there compared to the dry peek from Jogor earlier on the off angles. So, yeah, good work there from the defense. Better from Direwolves early on. We're going to see Jogor once again roaming around Vigil Shotgun. The boss G. I feel like we've seen it from him already at this stage, so we'll see if that will be effective. Meanwhile, Jittery droning out Library. So Knock Knock, I believe, will look to contest for some Library control. They have the player positioned outside on Ego Bulk as well on that double window to try and pinch Pika. So a bit of pressure on the castle here to hold position.
Attackers dropped.
And he gets another one. Eventually traded though by the Nitrocell of Seal. Still trying to clear this mezzanine position with which Pika holding. Gets rid of that drone. Only 4 now remaining for Knock Knock. Smoke thrown from Rattler just to block off sightline through the Library hallway. Makes the entry in towards Big Window Mez and was momentarily obscured in terms of vision because of that F-Not mine and did lose his life to the player holding Mezzanine in Pika, who finds his 4th kill of the game. Likes going over towards Mudroom, and Jittery has got control of the Mezzanine with 50 seconds remaining in this round. B and Jittery now as a duo versus the 3-man Direwolves. I mean, they got Library control. A little bit of drone work can go into this as well. Rotero's still that can be utilized. 3 more available for Beat to open up the mezzanine floor. And Jittery immediately head straight towards Big Window in towards Games. 1 still in towards Barstock. That does need to be cleared. Only 20 seconds remaining. And as that duo got to now put the pressure onto Direwolves, force them to move. You've got to clear them and their positions. Jittery goes deep. Doesn't clear Barstock. Seal could swing at any time. There's the drop down from the hatch, but it's pretty good from Pete. Lovely headshot. Hit in the hands of Jittery. Now putting it onto the floor in towards Bar. Does it catch them off guard? No, it does not. Instead, they've just lined up. Souffle able to get the double. You can kind of see what they were trying to cook. Not go for the more conventional plant. The player in Barstock certainly could have aided in trying to deny any pushes, but unfortunately both lining up, and it's a opening round now for Direwolves. They get their first round on the board.
Yeah, some decent problem solving in the late round there from Knock Knock in the 2 versus 3 and trying to work the objective. There was no mirror in backstore, and so they were able to clear that, although then got timed, as you mentioned, kind of tried to attempt the off-meta plant position. As half-wall would have been risky if they lost vert control, which they did. Kind of just had to back themselves in. That Direwolves were going to throw 1s, which ultimately they didn't in the end. Beat was unable to cover and would have been traded anyway, so it didn't really matter. Much better from Direwolves. Good start to the round. The entry The hold up above was good, leaning into the likes of the Fenrir util, which wasn't cleared. And then, yeah, life made easier in the late round. So, good work from Direwolves. And we rotate back to bedroom, I think.
Yeah.
If I saw correctly, or maybe it was Dino. No, it's bedroom, okay.
10
Bedroom.
seconds to go.
Yeah, good response from Direwolves.
5 seconds
But also, I think even for Knock Knock's sake, the fact that it was a round again where it was honestly for the taking.
out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
2 versus 3, not impossible. You had kit, you had time. I think it was about 50 seconds with top library control plus mezzanine. Certainly a winnable round. Only early days, but it has been good signs from Knock Knock. Especially from Sandy. Playing the sledge in this round. Picked up quite a few kills. It will be a solo side push though from Knock Knock. Pressure pretty imminent early on. Trophy stands from Pika. We'll just hold this position close by. No Nitro Salt. I'm not sure if that's being expended or just pre-placed. I think it has been thrown and has missed entirely. Double repel actually at the moment on Solar. Now the frags are trying to dislodge this position, and the fact that it gets a kill. Well, that's honestly a little bit poor from Pika in this day and age. Dying to frag grenades in those kind of positions, you should be able to fall back. Maybe feeling the pinch. If you push back down trophy stairs, could be someone holding that trophy window. And another opening kill for Knock Knock puts them in a good position in this third round.
Yeah, elsewhere, Envy's getting to work on the Roteros, so there's probably util getting cleared as well at the moment. And I'll have a good read over towards Solar. Felix down below contesting though, so could disrupt, but needed to land that shot. Fortunately, he doesn't. Does have line of sight for the Vault, but he still loses that fight. That was pretty bold from Jittery to go for that. But the Vault animation in his favor that time around. Good work. The attack now with Solar control. And pressure on the likes of Jogor to find himself in the game. Top-rated player, but yet to find a kill.
Yeah, yellow ping information as well, but right now, Knock Knock just suddenly looking like a team that could maybe cause a big upset tonight. Lovely swing by on the repel from Jittery. Gets the kill onto Jogor. Well, early days, and only early days, but so far, really good signs from Knock Knock. It's all about capitalizing here, looking for their second attacking round. Again, I brought up that statistic, yes, earlier about Hasib Warriors on this map against Direwolves only managed 1 attacking round. Well, Knock Knock, in just side of 3, are looking for 2, and Seal now the 1 in a 1 versus 4. Good swing, gets the kill onto Rattler. Has information on another player over towards Piano, but B is gone and got that head of Seal. The lowest rated player, highlighted by Dev on the desk, and so far having a really good game. Feels like he's taken that personal. And so far, a 2-1 lead for Knock Knock is putting Direwolves in a really bad position when we talk about round differential, more so than just winning or losing. All of these rounds will make their life so much harder throughout the rest of the stage.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really impressive display again there from the attack. I'd say that was probably their best round yet. Able to chip away at Solar nicely. The nade clear stairs was clean. No catch response from Direwolves. Then we saw Joe inside of that closet position. I started to get a little bit scared for Knock Knock in how they were going to be able to clear him out because we know he has that multi-kill potential. But then it was pretty simple. They just leaned into the double window, which is very default. Landed a nice shot, so good work. And again, we see that final player left in a 1vx situation, 1v3 on that occasion. And Knock Knock doing a good job to convert. So they're very much not playing like a team that has all the odds against them in this matchup. With everything on paper pointing towards this being a dominant Direwolves match. Unfortunately, defensively, they have not been very sound so far, and their star player is yet to find a kill.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly not the Direwolves what I think we expected for tonight. A bit of a slow start. Opening round maybe set the tone as well for them. A couple of ego peaks. Thinking that they could just play denial down below, try and go for some early spawn peaks. Didn't work. They got shot back. Knock Knock took it straight to them. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Direwolves are a very experienced team. These guys have been around a long time. Jogor, though, 0-3. He hasn't. He's the new kid on the block. these are the kind of games you start bad. Can he mentally find a way to keep himself relevant? It's hard to say how many poor games Jogor has had this stage, guys, when he's the highest rated player. You'd have to go digging. So it's not often that we typically see 4 Direwolves, the best, quote-unquote, best player in the league, statistically start 0-3. There's some really concerning signs right now for Direwolves. Again, swift entry now, Envy through Mez. Kitchen and dining, so you want to get that bedroom and office control. Jittery already on that rappel. Outside of that bedroom window. Castle barricades have been employed over towards Piano side. Blocks off a little bit of vision from the rappel. Over 90 seconds left, and a player just spotted elbow into Mudroom. There's surely no way Souffle hasn't heard this. Is Souffle dead? He's dead. Oh! No way! He gets him! Sandy! He's 6th kill of the game, and Souffle does indeed lose his life. He hears the drones in the hallway, but doesn't even have a moment to think that he's sticking out. Another opening kill for Knock Knock.
That was strange. Yeah, Souffle, again, overconfidence is creeping into this match for Direwolves, and it's proving to be quite costly. Knock Knock aren't making many mistakes in clearing out players that are overplaying their hand in this match. So Direwolves need to stop taking free picks for granted and free position for granted. Otherwise, it's going to prove costly. Yeah.
Over towards
This round's
bedroom.
over. The round's over.
Yeah, bathroom. Jogor can cover this and get the revive. We didn't quite see how that down actually took place. Pika just delaying as long as possible with his Zoto canister holding his cross. Didn't even need his help though. Felix, as soon as he got up, got that kill. Jittery though with 1. Then a second to follow from Rattler. 3 versus 2. The Nitrocell not able to find a kill from Seal's perspective on the Kaid, and Pika's got 1. 1 Nitro and also 1 Zoto. And Seal with a big kill onto Jittery. Now makes it a 2 versus 2. 15 seconds remaining. And Pika should still be above and hasn't been cleared, as you can see on that Tubarão. Question will come down to what kind of lines of sight has he got looking down, and it's a great one. Straight through that doorway. Seal gets 1 from above Pika, then finishes the round off. A sigh of relief for Direwolves. That round looked like it was going to go the way as the others before it, but able to hold on, salvage it, find their second round. But so far, these rounds have been far too scrappy. Knock Knock have been far too good for Direwolves' liking. 2-2 scoreline, 2 rounds to go in the half. The Direwolves have got a challenge.
Well, it's shaping up to be an intriguing game between the two. And with round 5, once again, top 4. We'll see how it plays out this time around. Backtracking to the midway point of the round where Souffle got caught in mud. That was relatively intriguing. And then down below, the feed through the dining door. Good vert play from Direwolves in the end. And yeah, back up above, we'll see how it plays out. Again, for the most part, Knock Knock have been relatively content and actually playing quite patient on the exterior of the map and haven't been rushing map control. Direwolves, in response, typically are contesting that to apply pressure and to find kills.
10 seconds remaining.
Sometimes overstepping the mark, and when they are overstepping said mark, Knock Knock, to their credit, are doing a very, very good job in denying that. And then also having good late round. Late round has been a big talking point for this stage in a lot of the leagues that we've been covering, where teams typically may have an advantage, especially on attack, and then struggle to convert that. Hasn't really been the case in this match so far for Knock Knock. And at 2 rounds already, that's, even despite being shallow, still a good benchmark for them to reach, and anything from here is very, very positive indeed.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for Knock Knock, this is exactly what you need in a do-or-die kind of game. At the moment, tied on points with Daystar. But as we alluded to, they don't really get another opportunity. They've already played Daystar. They've already played Hasib Warriors. So you're going to have to find a win against one of these top SEA teams. Well, right now, this feels like their best chance. Essentially, playoffs on the line in this match. But it is Souffle that gets the opening kill onto Envy, struggling a little bit on the Dockerby, the support role. 2 kills now go the way of Direwolves. Fortunately, though, for Knock Knock, they were able to get the kill onto Felix, which it does diminish the advantage that Direwolves almost had. 3 versus 4, Jittery though low. I'm going to say it, but if Jogor starts to activate, that's going to make life a lot harder for Knock Knock. Need to compound these rounds while you can. While he well, seemingly isn't at his best. 0-4. He starts the frag. That's going to give Direwolves a real injection boost as Pika does get a kill onto Jitter in the run out. Okay, Direwolves starting to find just a little bit of confidence back again here on Chalet. Going for these runouts. Going for these peaks once again as they did early on in the rounds. This time, though, no response from Knock Knock. Rattler and Beat. 2 versus 4. And a lot to do with a lot of utility available for Direwolves. 2 Nitrous Cells, 1 Impact Node. Make it 3. With still 60 seconds in the round, Direwolves in a great position.
Well, we'll see then. How do Knock Knock try and get themselves back into the round? Double stack over towards Solar and still play on Repel. Divers can sort of just sit back and let them feed in. And that's exactly what happens to Beat, unfortunately. Stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Zombie Barricade still standing and used to full effect. Good work from Direwolves. They respond very briefly to that push over towards Solar. No real qualms about it in the end. Joe finding himself back into the game as well. And this final round feels quite important for both teams, really, because for Knock Knock, it is, you know, them being able to surpass that benchmark and set themselves up really nicely defensively. And if they can continue that confidence, maybe be a shout at pushing OT at least. And for Direwolves, on the flip side, they don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Chalet, the most played map in the Asia League. 61% defensive win rate overall. And a map that sees all 4 bomb sites quite often. By the way, it was a TK there onto Felix. So technically didn't find a kill in that round, did Knock Knock. As I just mentioned, if they can find a 3rd attacking round, well, that puts them in a very solid position going into the second half, because the way that this map should play out statistically is a 2-4 half to the defense. And so for Direwolves, they can achieve that, which would at least put us on par going into the second half, or for Knock Knock, achieve a really solid result. And that's very easy to say it's been a solid result regardless, but you don't get anything for honorable losses at this point. Win this game, you can very much go to the playoffs. It's not a solidified, locked-in situation, but boy, it puts them probably in a much better position in comparison to Daystar. Direwolves, of course, they really cannot allow this to be extended. They need the round differential. They need this to be over and done with as soon as possible. 7-2 is honestly what they're searching for. 7-3 at worst from here. So you got one team that really needs to win this as quick as possible, and the other that is just going to fight tooth and nail in every round to just scrag along. Sandy straight onto that library balcony. Jogor top library stairs. Found 2 kills in that last round. I mentioned it before, Guz, but he starts to get going. That's going to be very difficult for Knock Knock.
Yep, for sure. I agree. Pretty key role in this round as well, over towards that position in which he's holding, but it's a triangle set up here. One inside of Library and Felix as well to cover the double window. Mondo gets out, able to escape, and Felix applying pressure to facilitate that. So Pika gets back to the objective. That's his job done. Doesn't want to lose his life on the top floor. And so far here, again, from Knock Knock, it's a lot of exterior pressure. No one in the map at all, as far as I'm aware. And so looking for those battles to be fought on the exterior. And Direwolves not really presenting many opportunities, or at least not opportunities in favor of the attack. Seal's able to get the first. Felix on drone. Let's see if Knock Knock convert. Well, unfortunately not. Sandy gets swung. And the trade is late from double window. If there was a trade attempt, no, that player's still out on the Evo belt. So any opportunity to clear Felix has pretty much now subsided.
Yeah, unfortunately for Envy, it's been a really rough half. 0-4, couple of opening deaths as well. Not really helping. And then you lose Sandy. 6-5 has been so strong in this half. Yeah, these are the kind of fights that Knock Knock were just capable of winning to begin this half, but unfortunately, in this round, they've got nothing to go their way. Holding these kinds of angles certainly did net them a good kill or two to begin catching Direwolves off guard, but this time around, Direwolves far more switched on. A massive response from them to close this half out from 2-2 to 2-4. And I think Beat will just take the impromptu 35 seconds. It's been a rough stage for him. If there's ever a time to maybe just save the KD, this could be it. He does have the kit, though. And 20 seconds, makes his way back into mud. He makes the right option here of actually just going for it. Jiggle Peek from Jogor is strong though and does win out. So 4-2 in favor of Direwolves to close out the opening half on their defense. I'm not sure exactly how they would be feeling after that half. I mean, yeah, for all statistical purposes, it's a job well done, but yeah, I think the way that those rounds initially played out, they'd be a little bit disappointed, but yeah, they bounced back. For Knock Knock, now onto the defense. Can they keep the good vibes rolling into the second half, defending against Direwolves in a do-or-die game? Must get all 3 points. I mean, even 1 to 2 points could honestly be a difference maker.
Attackers need to locate and
See what they've got on the defense.
Laying out the welcome mat.
attackers have located a bomb.
Setting up.
So let's jump into it. Let's jump into things here and see how Knock Knock are able to build some potential momentum here on defense. It's gonna be very util heavy in terms of the castle combo with the mirror, and so there'll be a lot of pressure on a potential Ash here from Direwolves. I wouldn't be too surprised if they re-pick into that to aid in the util clear, alleviate some pressure.
5 seconds
So we've got the Frost to be mindful of as well. So Chap's also in play. Doesn't look like those are going to switch on to the Ash, which could be a little bit concerning. It kind of depends where the mirrors are set up and how divers want to play into them. As it goes without saying, Ash charges now counter them directly, but depending on how they're positioned, could be vert down below. Habana as well to maybe dislodge them as well at ankle height. So we'll wait and see. But there's going to be a lot of util, especially again with these army in play as well. Also no Flores. So it's very gun heavy here from Direwolves and looking to crowd control with the Dokkaebi and the Line.
Extension all the way over to this library side. I can't imagine Knock Knock's going to get too aggressive here on the defense. I think just hold your positions, back yourself in defensively on site close to it, in the key positions that you want to be holding. If you are going to get aggressive, maybe inside of the map. I don't know if taking any kind of window peaks will be play.
Let's see who's nearby.
It's an early logic bomb from Jogor, still 2 minutes into the game, but gets him into West Main. No noise made close by. There's one player. Over towards Dining. Well, yeah, shot from above there. Jogor just momentarily could have easily actually lost his life. There's another logic bomb, so no more after this. Red pig information. Jogor, I think, is going to get really aggressive, but he does lose the battle to beat on the mirror. Finds his 5th kill of the game. 90 seconds left now, and a 4-on-4 Souffle. Over towards Jigsaw. Drops down. Could make his way to West Main as Pika going for a little lurk inside of West Main. Understanding that Knock Knock very much playing these floorboard positions and the verts down below. One over on that solar repel at the moment for Direwolves, anticipating that they are going to try and make their way through Trophy and up solar.
So the head jab there.
He can't get it.
Down below. No impact. Well, he tries to
that's
block. Well, he tries to block it and then run into it. I don't know if he actually did block the angle, but either way, he survives, so it doesn't matter. Beat also able to find Souffle. So 4v3, under a minute to go here for Direwolves, and they don't find themselves in the best of positions. Again, fighting still for map control. It's a triple repel at the moment.
He can't now, not with 3 players up.
No, Seal will rotate. He'll play the stairs. Fearlock's able to get in, but that wasn't well timed. Player on the stairs still coming up. So there's mistakes creeping in here from Direwolves. The pressure, I think, is mounting a little bit in this game, or at least in this particular round. One in which they, I think, genuinely could have fought back from. But now in the 2 versus... Oh, 2v2.
Hang on.
Actually, no. I mean, there was that split moment if Sandy had fallen with 2 players down elsewhere. But they do hold on.
Yeah, Sandy has done a significantly good job for Knock Knock in this match. Really solid round from them. And just holding their key positions, and I think also the vert play, especially into West Main, was very much paramount for them in the round. Yeah, Direwolves very much looking for that default play, get one on the big window repel in towards bedroom, one on the solar side, and then eventually try and get some trophy into solar control, but they could just never clear bathroom. Either from the balcony or from West Main, they just couldn't clear it. There was too much pressure as well over towards library side, so they couldn't get library hallway in towards piano. And just credit to Knock Knock, they were just very much immovable at the moment. 3-4, they get themselves a 3rd round, and again, it means for Direwolves, the round differential just gets worse and worse and worse. Again, coming into this, of the top 5 already, the worst round differential of those teams, only +2. And they've got 2 really important games over the last 2 play days. And the way they're playing in this game, well,
10 seconds remaining.
doesn't bode well for them.
5 seconds left.
So we'll see if Dials maybe this time around lean a little bit more into util in looking to clear things again, like keeper barriers, especially in this instance. Also Melusi Banshees as well this time around. So we see them bring the Ash, which may aid in that. And also grenades in the hands of Seal. Not every day of the week you'll see an IQ in play without Valkyrie, who was banned out. So we'll see what the thinking process was behind that, outside of the grenades and the comfortability of the primary. Pika's got a good quick control, and this is a big switch up from what we saw from Knock Knock. We very rarely saw players lurking in and finding advanced positions on the attack. And so from here, Pika will be able to lock down that dining rotation, clear that utility, open a path towards the objective, and just ensure that there's phantom pressure on this side of the map. That is very aggressive, and he almost got put out, but now they know, Knock Knock know, that he is posted up here and they have to be careful.
Yeah, but the second round in a row, Joker has used that logic bomb at the 2-minute mark. The second one, not even the first one. Yellow ping, information. Wait, does Seal know that Envy is this close, holding Library Stairs? He had no idea. Envy finally on the board with his first kill. At least Joker was able to clear that mezzanine position, but they haven't cleared top Library, not just yet. Double flash, forcing Rattler away. It's been a rough game for him, just 1 and 7, but he survives. And honestly, that's pretty good in itself. Beat hasn't been cleared. Yellow ping information. The timing just has to be perfect. Tucked in left side, does get the kill onto Jogor. Trade immediately from Mezzanine. Pika, double-digit kills. But it's a 3 versus 3 and another round that is certainly up for grabs with Knock Knock while they're knocking on this door. Rattler in towards Barstock. Envy behind Bar. Jittery needs a kill and he does find it. A second no, but information as to Souffle's position at Library Stairs, and he's taking quite low. That can be relayed over to Rattler and Envy. 2 players, though, guys, that are 1 and 7 and 1 and 4. The KDA doesn't matter, though, in a clutch moment. Round 8, this could be your moment.
Yeah, it depends if Envy's position is known. Direwolves should be expecting a player backstore, so he's going to have to hold that, and in fact, the feet spotted. Rattler, then, he'll probably be the key player in this round. Also, though, in backstore, will Direwolves expect the double stack? That's the question.
30 seconds, not a lot of time remaining for Direwolves, but they do have care. Envy just pokes his shoulder out a little bit. Drone shot out from that hatch. Keeps moving forward, but what an angle found. Traded immediately, though, by Rattler. 1 versus 1, should know that he was above, but making his way down very slowly now is Souffle. Without the kit in hand. Red time, 5 seconds left. Going slow is his approach, but the Rattler catches him, and with that, Knock Knock will find another round. Direwolves are in disarray for what was supposed to be David versus Goliath. It turns out it's an even match. It's 4-4, and a timeout has been called by Direwolves.
Yeah, this has been a really good display so far from Knock Knock. And perhaps a bit of a wake-up call for, I suppose, for us and by extension the league, and more importantly Direwolves today. I think they very much went into this with a cruise control mentality, and I said before, perhaps overconfidence as well. I don't entirely know what it is, not inside the camp, but I did not expect the result to be panning out the way it has so far. And even if Direwolves from here 4-4, flip it and win 7-4, it's only +3 on round diff. And that could come back to bite them later on with other teams like Jolita, like Hero Elevates, exceeding them by 5 or more rounds at the moment. So if those two go on to continue to win or be competitive, they might not be able to close that gap. And that's even assuming they win the game, because that's by no means a certainty from here.
No, it's
So it's been a good display from Knock Knock. They're actually playing quite well.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can. Attackers have
Knock
located
Knock.
a bomb.
all the way back. Playday 3 took down their South Asian rivals in Hasib Warriors 7-5. Prior to that, though, was when they took on Daystar back on Playday 2, lost that.
Laying out the welcome mat.
And when they did lose that particular game, even before playing Hasib Warriors, that already would have put a dent into their chances of getting out of the bottom two, because it meant they have to then go and beat a Southeast Asian team. Well, on the cards right now is that very possibility. 4-4, 3 rounds away. You win this, you go to 6 points. And dare I say it, they'd actually be on the same amount of points as Direwolves does. Direwolves still to play Jalida and Elevate. But the round differential is quite extreme between Knock Knock, Daystar, and Direwolves. I'm not insinuating that Direwolves could end up in bottom 2 territory, but I am saying that Knock Knock have every chance of being on the same points as them by the end of this game, and that already is quite significant.
So it's a library extension here from Knock Knock that is unoccupied. They have the castle with footholds, and so it means that Direwolves can't necessarily just jump in and get free control. The long lines of sight from the likes of Sandy at half wall can contest that, depending on how they've configured it, or if anyone wants to swing piano as well. Already 2 Roteros used very early on here from Pika, likely in response to the castle barricades. And so the rest of the attack, I suppose, is likely shaping up over towards library. 2 stacked out front door. Pika actually down below in trench. So he's, I think, yeah, he's going up west main. Okay, so clearing utility in the site. Bit of information garnered as well, and he could actually look to play off that. Keep in mind, he's
Got one left.
yeah, he's looking red hot at the moment. 10 kills. Drone himself on the floors. I mean, it's not something you see every day of the week, but should be able to deal with things like barbed wire and stuff as well on his path to the site, and he can continue to be a bit of a threat.
Yeah, it puts a bit of that horizontal pressure as well onto kitchen and dining. Typically extension up above. You do want to take up above at some point. Roteros are done, by the way. So no more available for Pika. Will drone himself, though, only has the 1 drone remaining for him. Deal with a bit of presence over towards Ego Belk. There's a hole opened up as well near the half wall position. But no contact made. Still 60 seconds, but no contact. Knock Knock happy to just play ultra defensive. Heavy focus over towards the bedroom and bathroom side up above. Making sure that any kind of kitchen take is going to be, yeah, incredibly difficult. But it could open up pressure onto dining, especially with this west main pressure. Souffle finds a kill onto Rattler. Pika's already in a good position, and Felix is just going to go for the plant inside of the smoke. Pika's in a position where he can trade anyone looking to make their way in. And look at this double kill from Direwolves. Plant goes down successfully. And for the first time in this half, it really does feel like Direwolves have been able to, well, implement a plan of attack. The Knock Knock have never really had any look into the round. A 1 versus 3 now for Beat. Immediately caught outside on the Jigsaw balcony. Here's Pika. He would have done that quite quickly from that west main position, making his way out of there and then up the ladder. But yeah, certainly a much better round from Direwolves. Into the 10th round, they get themselves back to lead 5-4.
Yep, good work from Direwolves. Needed to formulate a bit of response, a bit of a confidence builder now. Only 1 away from match point. And in terms of what this means for playoff implications, specifically for Direwolves, if they're able to secure at least an OT win, that's 99% top 6, and 99.9 if it's regulation. For Knock Knock, though, if they are to go on and lose this, they still have a bit of a lifeline, although it doesn't look great for them. It will only be a 41% chance of making the top 6 if they lose this game. And then looking ahead at Knock Knock's fixture, of course that's very important as well. They will be taking on both Fury and Jalida. So they have a pretty rough ride home. If there's any game that Knock Knock are going to win, it's probably this one. So we'll see if they can fight back.
10 seconds to insertion.
Yeah, and that's the concern. If they don't win this one, this close against the Direwolves team that has been quite shaky. Look at their last 2 games. Well, they play Fury tomorrow, and it's a Fury roster that looks in arguably their best form for 2024. And then on the last play day, you play a Jalida roster that maybe could be gettable, kind of like Direwolves today. That would be quite literally their last chance, being play day 7. Oh, this is so aggressive and quick from Jogor. Both castle barricades dealt with instantaneously. Just get that feeling that the pace for Direwolves has picked up. And at times, over the last couple of rounds, that confidence is starting to show once again. But credit to Knock Knock. Every time that confidence has been there for Direwolves, Knock Knock have been ready. But this time, no. Jittery loses his life to Pika. Over towards Ego Balk. Just, I imagine, opens up that door and just takes a couple of pot shots. They're getting so aggressive again. Even this from Pika. Sitting behind the window, goes for the peek. But this time, the aggression will not pay dividends. Rattler finds the kill. 4 versus 4.
So DreamHack then in towards Solar. They will see that the stairs themselves are obviously clear, and Jogor has that position down below. He can look to take some util as well from Vert if he so desires. The Fenrir mine pinged out. Minute 30 still remaining in the round, so a lot of time remains. Direwolves looking pretty content to shape up for a northern push. One spotted bathroom. Don't know if they know if there's the second side of hot tub. It's a deployable shield setup, which is pretty intriguing here from Knock Knock. Angle through the slit. So facilitating entry into Solar, maybe quite a little bit of a challenge. Closet as well, now retaken. Line of sight also established by their own hard breach. I think Direwolves identify that it's going to be pretty risky to go for this just by rappelling straight in. They need some stairs control. They've got the flashbangs to clear it. And now they've finally got Seal on the bulk.
Oh, easy kill for Jogor. On to Sandy, who's had a good game so far. Oh, they're second. We started 0-4 for Jogor, but now has found 7 kills. 7-3 since that poor start. Rattler in towards half wall, default. Unfortunately, though, not really in a position to deny Felix. Still on that rappel is Jogor. Good position. Rattler not going to go for it. Now into a 1v3 post plant. Immediately shot by the planter. And that is going to be the timeout requested by Knock Knock. Match point has been achieved for Direwolves. It's been a hard-fought match point to get to. Certainly have been pushed a lot more than we originally thought they would get pushed, but in fairness to Direwolves, the response has been great. When the game was on the line at 4-4, they have just been able to get to a level that we typically expect to see from Direwolves, and unfortunately for Knock Knock, they just haven't been able to match them.
No, I mean, that peak there from Rattler was really nice. Unfortunately, though, towards the late round, we saw that pivot from Direwolves. I think they rather quickly identified that sending it straight into Solar was very risky. So we saw the Bulk then play, the double window rappel, the flip to the other side as well, very late. And then it meant that the positions that Knock Knock had taken quite quickly became weakened. And they couldn't formulate a response then fast enough. So it was good adaptation there from Direwolves in that round. Probably the best we've seen from them so far in this match. And coming at really the perfect time. It initiates the tactical timeout from Knock Knock, who are very much fighting now for a spot in the top 6. Unless Daystar are to completely drop the bundle later on in the in this stage, and round diff goes the way of Knock Knock, they may slide down into the bottom 2. So this is a big game for Knock Knock and a big couple of rounds potentially for Knock Knock and for South Asia.
Also, Sib Warriors take on Elevate in the game after this. Goes without saying, it's, yeah, somewhat do or die. They do still play Daystar tomorrow. That could be a very intriguing game for his Sib Warriors. But their last game is then against Fury, so I'm going to be honest, it probably is must-win territory for them as well. 2 massive rounds for Knock Knock to try and send this one to overtime. That 1 point could be a difference maker. The best opportunity they've certainly had so far at this stage of taking down a Southeast Asian team. They've been right in this game, started so well. Direwolves, just in the last 2 rounds, have been able to flip a switch, it feels like. I mentioned Jogor started 0-4, now 7-7, so 7-3. In response to the poor start, really highlighting the mental fortitude for this young player. It's not easy when you check that scoreboard and you're 0-5. You're not quite getting the kills you're usually getting. Again, a very aggressive start though from Direwolves, immediately dealing with these castle barricades. Bit over towards Closet, playing off default right now, just to see if we can get any information towards Solar. I'm going to be honest though, I think Knock Knock need to probably find a little bit more aggression on the defense, because last round they just got completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, so 2 minutes on the clock, and we'll see where Divers look to posture. It's a top library stairs hold as well here from Knock Knock, so that may complicate things, and there's a lack of lurk potential because down below is castled off as well. Jogor elsewhere though, west main, so he might look to play from here. Can post up. And he might be able to catch someone on a rotate back towards the site. Rattler in bar as the logic bomb goes out.
Oh,
Jogor almost timing one. Does he see the elbow?
I think he heard him, initially heard him, yeah.
Good
I
damage.
think as he went for that reload and looked away, he heard him last second and then immediately put his eyes back into that position. It's been a massive difference maker for Direwolves that Jogor has really stepped up in this second half. You know, Rattler on the move, but is he aware there's one in towards games? Could be a bit of a disaster for him waiting to happen.
Well, I think he was going to rotate through Snowmobile, and then there was a lurker down below from the attack again, so he's had the presence of mind to come back up. And now found back inside of bar. I think Divers have probably given up on the roam clear at this point. One more logic bomb now to come through, so maybe this is an opportunity for Rattler to be under a little bit of pressure, but I don't think that will be the case. Instead, they'll probably just try and cut him on the rotation back towards site. Elsewhere, Solar being cleared, so they need to fall back. Pika to find the first. And in fact, they will double down here, so Rattler now needs to make the most of this flank.
Yeah, unfortunately, everyone else, though, is losing their lives pretty quickly. I don't think there's too much wrong with the flank from Rattler. It's just a little delayed. He's got no idea Souffle's tucked in on Library. And he's going to lose his life, and with that, they're going to lose the game. The Direwolves very much stepped it up, though, when it was called upon. At 4-4, it was looking quite dire for the Direwolves. But hey, they activated. They got the last 3 rounds very convincingly. Jogor has got himself a Xenox chair, so I'm a big fan. Direwolves get themselves all 3 points. Not quite the round differential they would have been searching for, guys. But hey, it's a win against a Knock Knock team that we're fighting tooth and nail. And so therefore, it ends up being a pretty good win for Direwolves, considering I think that's the best we've seen from Knock Knock all stage long. It's not as if they got them in the early couple of play days when they were still figuring things out. They got a Knock Knock team that looked like they were really fighting for a win to keep their playoffs hopes alive.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're a little bit subdued in our celebration here for Direwolves, but again, it's a match that we went in expecting them to win. Eventually, they got it over the line, and the question now to be raised for the rest of the stage, will the round diff come back to bite them?
A question has been posed here. Where will we get it answered? Maybe on the desk?
I think Dev, you might have a hand free to give these boys. Do you want to break
Or
that
the
one
other?
down?
I've got the other
Well,
hand as well. I've got
What's
one
the other hand
and-
doing? Hang on a second.
both
What's the other hand
both
doing?
hands fully visible right now, and both hands in the prayer symbol and saying, Direwolves, you're very lucky not to have dropped any points today. That was actually a really tough game. I think it was fair to preface it as a bit of a David and Goliath, and I don't want anyone in the South Asia community to think that we're not doing the region justice. It's just an unfortunate reality is those teams have not looked so great this stage, and historically the results have kind of indicated that. But Knock Knock really stepped up today. I think especially, opening with the opening kill in the first round, converting that. It was a bit back and forth, and I think Direwolves built up that momentum a little bit. They got 3 defenses in a row. And if it had ended up like a 3-3 split on the attack, or maybe even like a 4-2 in favor of Knock Knock, this would have definitely been points seeping out of Direwolves' favor. But yeah, unfortunately, Knock Knock just didn't quite have the steam. And yeah, 2 streaks of 3 rounds in a row from Direwolves in the end. They just could convert that momentum so well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think probably back to maybe it was round 3 with a 3 versus 5 for Knock Knock that for me started to unravel them a little bit. They had that upper hand which they lost, and then they sorely lost rounds after that. Mandy, I think one of the stats that I'm kind of looking at, which just goes to compound the conversation we had right before we threw. 8 of the 11 engagements that we saw, or near on that, were won by Direwolves. So just once again, their early round seems to be on point.
Yeah, to be honest, that game, as the rounds went by, it looked more and more TDM. Especially, I think, we did end up seeing an attacker-sided Clubhouse, sorry, oh my gosh, we've seen so much Clubhouse, Chalet, in the end today. So yeah, it felt like by the time that Direwolves actually got on the attack, it just It seemed like they were just abusing the architecture of the map, really. They were sitting out on all these like windows and cutoffs and taking engagements that when you're on a defender rotation and you're trying to make your way through the map, you try and take that 1 versus 1, you're not always going to be winning it outright because someone's sitting there holding an angle waiting for you to take that fight. So yeah, I think Direwolves, as soon as they jumped onto that attack half, I felt like you said it perfectly right after round 3. It was only 1 round that Knock Knock were able to get after that, right, really. So yeah, it just looked like Direwolves were very much in control of taking the fights that they needed to.
Dev, does it change the conversation for you at all in regards to Direwolves and where they sit? You know, going into this game, I kind of prefaced that maybe they lose this, maybe they lose points from this, and we're talking about a top 4, bottom 4. Do you think that they're still in that top 5 discussion, or has it changed a bit for you?
I have spun it a few ways. Coming into this stage, I thought that we would be looking at like a top 5 and then a bottom 3 with Daystar and the 2 South Asian teams. Unfortunately for Direwolves, I'm thinking that we're now kind of a top 4, bottom 4 scenario, and I think Direwolves are no longer in that top 4. I think they're probably 5th place, Daystar being 6th, and then 7th, 8th being Nasib Warriors probably in 8th, and then Knock Knock here obviously in 7th. Yeah, I think that Direwolves obviously even being top 6 means that they'll make playoffs, but
Yes.
I do think that like those 3rd versus I think it's 3 will play 6 and then 4 will play 5 is typically how the seeding works. I think those matches are going to be sadly quite one-sided in favor of the 3rd and 4th seeds, whoever it ends up being, whether it's Elevate or Jalita or Fury. Yeah, I just think that Direwolves, even if they make playoffs, like they need to form up quite a bit before we get to those BO3s. Otherwise, unfortunately, it'll be really hard for them to actually make those qualification games.
Yeah, the game changes quite a bit once we get to playoffs. But we do have long-time Direwolves player, Souffle, on the line. Souffle, how are you, my friend?
Hi, I'm good.
I want to kickstart this. This was a really important game for you. The 3 points now kind of puts you back into that playoffs conversation and cements you a little bit. How are you feeling after that match?
I feel amazing.
Was it? Let me just ask you. Did you expect it to
Yeah.
be so close?
No, we expect to 7-0.
I think we expected that too.
Sevens.
Dev.
Hi, Souffle. Your next match, you play Jalita Esports. Do you think this is going to be hard? Do you think that you can beat them? Because in the past, it was very hard for you guys to play NoCap R6. They beat you when they were called that previous name. So, yeah, do you think you can beat Jalita?
Yes, maybe. Thai game, Thai.
Mandy?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about what the energy is like in the team. We've got a lot of players that are new to the region that we don't know super well. So I wanted to ask you, like, are you guys like a hype kind of team, or have you got more quiet players on the team? What's it been like for you guys in the server?
Half.
Half half. Yeah.
I don't know how to.
No, half. I mean, look, to be honest, Direwolves are currently in that conversation of obviously playoffs, but things may still change, Souffle. Look, thank you very much for joining us here, mate, and best of luck for the rest of the matches.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Souffle. I'm going to be honest, Rob. I feel bad for the guy. I don't think he understood a word of what we're saying.
No, that's why I tried to keep it as simple as I could. I was
Not his fault. Not his fault.
We have to test. You've got to test the waters. Obviously, it's we're talking about a completely different region here, so we're going to test the waters with the interviews at the very least. But look, Souffle has been a part of this team for a very long time, and he's garnered my respect over the many years that we've seen him. So man of very few words. I think we got 7-0 yes, no, maybe, and half out of him. But it's all about getting them on and getting their faces. Well, I was going to say their faces seen. We couldn't even see.
You got to see like the quarter of his face. I was gonna ask, but like he had in his background on his green screen like someone else's face. It was too zoomed in. I couldn't quite check who it was. But yeah, he had some spirit, even though we couldn't necessarily get a lot of words out of him. He had a lot of spirit.
He did. And look, to be honest, I think that's always been a hallmark of Direwolves. And Mandy, I think it was a very valid question of, what is the team like? Is it quiet? Is it rowdy? Because, from what it seems like in the player camps, it's actually hard to get a bit of a gauge on that.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, when you think about the old Direwolves roster, like the one with like Jackie Wu on it, those guys were like super hyped. They had like so much energy. They were really in it. Whereas like this iteration of Direwolves, super hard to get a read on these guys. Like they like really poker face once they're in the server. You can't tell if they're having an amazing time or if they're just there and they're, I don't know, really. It's really hard to tell.
Well, I think it's, it probably goes to show and probably speaks volumes as to where they are at the moment, maybe, Dev. It feels like Direwolves are still finding themselves as a team.
Yeah, very much so. I think that the roster changes have been beneficial in some ways, right? Like Joe Gore, for example, absolute machine, real fragger. But I don't think that we've ever seen Direwolves like regain the team synergy that they had back in the days before Reaps and ED left. And it's been a hell of a long time since then, but they've really struggled to like look like a unit ever since then. And every now and then, one of the players has a life game, like PK going 10 and 6, right? 91% cost, 5 multi-kills. That's insane. We've had similar from Joe Gore before as well. That's not the same as having like a well-rounded team. When you watch Bleed play, you're not expecting Turds to get 20 kills a game. You're not expecting Reaps to get 20 kills a game. In fact, that one of the storylines we've been hammering on about this stage is how Reaps has actually been quite a quiet player. It's funny because he's meant to be like the APAC Bolo or whatever. And it just goes to really emphasize the point that everyone always says, which is that Rainbow Six is a team game, and the best teams don't need hero players. They need to be a unit. And unfortunately, I think Direwolves are quite a way away from that. And it's been a long time that they, like, their progress as a team has really kind of just stalled out, and they're cruising at the moment. I'm not saying that's for a lack of effort or anything. I don't know the dynamics of the team, but they are struggling to level up, and I think Jalita is a perfect example. Jalita have been getting better and better, and Direwolves, I think, are struggling to catch up. If Daystar start improving, I think Direwolves, might even struggle to qualify for playoffs in future stages.
Well, it could get really tight, but, for now, they've got 2 games left. Direwolves play Jalita and then play Elevate in their last 2 play days. So they've really got 2 games left to convince us that the best of ones were just, a bit of a mere mistake in the early opening portions of this stage. However, it is time for our final match. Before we get there, a quick break.